The Institute for Applied Life Sciences at UMass Amherst is a rarity in the region. It's a $150 million facility where education and industry work sometimes in concert to conduct research as well as develop and create medical devices and other life science advances. And now there are grants available to small and medium-sized companies in Massachusetts that might want to access the cutting-edge facility for their own projects. I spoke with the Institute's director, Dr. Peter Reinhart, to find out more.
The Institute provides a functionality that doesn't exist in the region. On the one hand, we provide an outlet for academics and students on campus that have ideas that could be translated into product candidates or technologies that have an impact on human health. And on the other hand, we have a lot of tools, reagents, and know-how that local companies, particularly small to medium-sized companies that may not have big budgets to buy $2 million pieces of equipment, can actually come onto the campus and utilize our resources, our equipment resources, in a way that's very unusual. Most of the time campuses would want to take a piece of intellectual property or own a piece of the technology being developed. We've opened up our core facilities in a way that's completely IP neutral, so they can come in and use it and still retain full IP ownership. So it ends up being a win-win, both for on-campus and off-campus.
For the folks at home who might not be familiar with applied life sciences, what is it?
It's very broad. It includes engineering, the School of Public Health, all of the natural sciences. It includes nursing. It includes computer science. Anywhere where you could have faculty coming together to work on an idea. The Institute is an umbrella organization that covers all of those departments, and we ask who's interested in solving Alzheimer's. And it could be a nurse, a molecular biologist, a computer scientist, and an engineer. They get space in our building to work on thematic research, not departmental research, and we try to partner with industry if there are overlapping interests. If somebody really wants to develop a next-generation antibody for Huntington's disease, for instance, they can come and work with us as an industry partner early in the process, long before there's a therapeutic candidate, but they get to know us, we get to know them, and we tap into each other's areas of expertise.
So to your point about not taking a piece of intellectual property, either from a small or medium-sized business that might want to come and partner with you, how is it that it's possible for you to do that when industry standard would say, no, we want a piece of that pie?
Well, and the way I framed that earlier is to say we do not expect a piece of the pie if all a company wants to do is come onto our campus and use our equipment. They're free and clear. They can do that. If they want to co-develop an idea or a theme where both partners contribute to the intellectual property, then that would be co-owned by both the campus and by the industry partner. But if an industry partner wants to develop a prototype for a device that might be a wearable monitor that allows you to track your balance and gait, and they have all the drawings done, they want to come and use our equipment just to make the prototype, we take no piece of that intellectual property.
And so now, as I understand it, there's a state voucher program that is available to those small and medium-sized businesses that might want to come in and use the department. How is that possible? How is that made available to them?
If you're a small company, less than 10 people, you can apply for a voucher. It's a very simple one-page application. And if up to $75,000 can be put onto that voucher program, and if it's awarded, the state actually picks up 75% of that cost, and the industry partner only needs to come up with 25%. If you're a company that's 50 employees and smaller, they pick up half. So it's half and half.
And are there specific industries that you're really hoping will take advantage of this? Any specific area you'd like to start in?
Well, we have built up capacity that's very broad. We can do everything from creating prototypes. We have 3D printing, additive manufacturing, device integration, chip integration. We can build very small sensitive monitors that capture a lot of information. So that's one whole thematic area. Another one is we can measure how well devices perform or how well therapeutics perform on humans. We have an apartment complex that simulates a real living environment. We have 3D motion capture sensors, gait sensors, weight sensors. So we capture a lot of very accurate information that measures the performance of either therapeutics or devices in a real-world environment. So our facilities are very broad. We have over 30 of them. They're all managed by professional staff, not faculty or students, and industry partners have access to both the facility and to the staff.
When you're looking at the entire facility, we're talking about 225,000 square feet. It's a big space. This here is located in Western Massachusetts. Is there anything else like it in the eastern part of the state or elsewhere in this region?
Regionally, no. There are, and I would say even broader, the way we have set this up to have core facilities with no IP dilution and the breadth of our offering, I have never seen anything like it anywhere. There are other core facilities around the region, particularly Boston, Cambridge, not nearly as available, not nearly as open and industry-friendly as ours are here.
If I'm a small business or medium-sized business watching this and I think, oh, I have an idea that I think will be applicable, what would be the average price that I would expect to pay if I wanted to use the facility? Is there any way to ballpark that?
If you have a project that has a $100,000 price tag, or make it simple, a $75,000 price tag, and you're a small company with less than 10 employees, then the state picks up 75% of that total price tag. So 75% off 75,000 is covered by the state. The rest is on you.
Got it. So that gives people a good sense of the framework.
It's a great facilitator to drive innovation and allows industries to try things that might have been prohibitive because they don't have the equipment or it's too expensive.
As I understand it, there are sort of three sections at the center, at the Institute,
Yes.
you know, the bioactive delivery, the models for medicine, and then personalized health monitoring. In that area, pharmaceuticals might be developed. I could see people looking at this and saying, there's a potential for a conflict of interest. We're using, you know, taxpayer money to support this entity, but then a pharmaceutical industry is developing something.
All applications to use our core facilities are reviewed by a 5-campus committee that has a representative from each of the 5 campuses, and it's reviewed to be in alignment with campus and UMass objectives. Does it actually further the objectives that the money was made available for, which is to expand the innovation in small to medium-sized companies? And so if there are any red flags raised, we have mechanisms of going through a conflict of interest resolution panel that then would address that head on.